As I did the studies that comprised the web of inclusion, I spent a lot of time thinking about what it was that resonated so strongly in me with the organizations I was studying. And I realized that it really was significant to me because my first working experience had been very much as part of a web. My first, well, probably my second real job had been as a very junior writer at the Village Voice, which at that time was a cutting-edge, must-read paper. I would compare it, I guess, to Salon online today. I don't think there are any hard copy magazines or papers today that have the kind of influence that it had then. This was in the early 70s. And it was very much a result of the editor at that time, the founding editor, who later lost it in a power struggle, and the nature of both the paper and the organization changed. But Dan Wolfe had been the founding editor. And Dan had a philosophy that what you do, and it's a philosophy that's really lost out in the media world, but what you do if you want to create a great media property is you hire talented people and you encourage them and you just let them run with ideas and you print it. And that if you hire the right people, what their interests are, what their obsessions are, will find an echo with readers. In fact, that is very much what happened. The paper was later bought by an individual who exemplified the opposite idea. The opposite idea was that you go out and you test the market to see what people are interested in, and then you assign stories based on that. So it's more marketing driven, but it's not a philosophy where you really trust the people, the writers, to come up with ideas that will interest people and assume that that they sort of drive the interest or create and shape the discussion that's being had in a larger world. And Dan did that by leading in an extremely web-like way. I mean, he was really like the spider at the center of the web. He had this office where everybody could come in at any time as long as he wasn't, in a formal meeting, and just sit down there and be with him and talk with him or just kind of observe what was going on. Even if he did have someone in the office and was in a meeting, you could just kind of sit in on it and learn from it. And it was interesting because that's something Frances Hesselbein did too at the Girl Scouts. She would invite more junior people to just spend the day sitting in her office, not even necessarily doing anything, but watching her handle a conference call with the New York Times, watching her deal with some stakeholder on some issue. And it was really interesting because I thought, this is how young people learn in an organization. And most organizations are structured in a way that the junior people never really get a chance to watch the senior people except when they're very prepared and coming out and making an address that some speechwriter has written. So it was a style, it was a way of being part of a community. And I think that's what really great web leaders do, is they create a community that people want to be part of.